Paris welcomes autumn with soft light, and among the city's sleepless glitter of perfume and the glint of boutique glass, the steps of a man in a black suit take center stage. KimTaehyung, or BTS's V, gazes up at the copper-colored twilight sky. The sound of cameras is heard in succession along the streets of Rue Saint-Honoré, where the Celine fashion house displays its latest works. Among photographers, fashion journalists, and connoisseurs of lifestyle, V stands quietly. He has just completed one of the quietest chapters of his life, the conscription period. Now, the world sees him again not just as an idol, but as a symbol of evolution. The journey to that moment is not simple. 2 years earlier, the world witnessed V wearing a military uniform under the flag of South Korea. Not in the studio, not on the concert stage, but on the practice field where the mornings are colder and the nights are longer than usual. He became part of a military police unit, living days with strict discipline and a schedule that did not know the term glamour. Army. His fans around the world can only stare at his old portrait on the phone screen, waiting for news, guessing what he will be like again later. When the day of his return came, thousands of fans gathered in front of the barracks in Chuncheon. Flowers, balloons, and handwritten, "Welcome back, Taehyung," filled the cool air. In the middle of the crowd, V came out with a gentle smile, waving his arms, wearing his military uniform for the last time in front of the public. He paid his respects not only to the colleagues who served with him, but also to the world that had been patiently waiting. In one small movement, the world seemed to stop for a moment. Cameras are recording, and millions of hearts are pounding in unison. But for V himself, freedom was not the end, but the beginning of something bigger. He chose silence, and then appeared suddenly not on the concert stage, but in Paris, in the heart of the fashion world. Celine, a fashion house that for a long time viewed her as the perfect artistic figure between classic and modern, made her a global ambassador. At Paris Fashion Week, Taehyung walked quietly among the crowd of stars and critics. He didn't look at the camera for too long, but his presence seemed to dominate the room. Every piece of cloth she wears is not just a dress. It was a visual narrative of the journey he had taken. From a military uniform to a sharp-cut coat, from a disciplined step to a stylish step. Everything tells a story without words. The army saw this as a symbolic moment. To them, Taehyung is not just an idol returning from service, but someone displaying a new maturity. The media reaction was resounding. Vogue wrote about the return of a quiet storm, while El Korea called it embodiment of timeless calm. A short video showing V at the Paris Fashion Week show went through millions of views in just a matter of hours. Fans from different countries made the hashtag with the theme V in Paris a global trend. Behind all that, there is a subtle sense of longing, the feeling that the idol they love is now taking a broader path, perhaps even deeper than before. However, the world does not stop there. Between the glare of the cameras and the neon lights of the city of Paris, the rumors flow again. Some camera eyes capture a fleeting moment that is difficult to explain. Two shadows that seem to be walking in the same direction. Two worlds that were once shaken by rumors and speculation. Lisa, a member of Blackpink who was also a guest at the same fashion event, was seen leaving a location not far from where V was present. There is no definitive proof, no assertion of either, just a cut in time that is too short to be called a coincidence, but too real to be ignored. The media wrote in a cautious tone, and fans began to guess. Did fate again bring together two figures who were once the talk of the world? That speculation actually thickens the mysterious aura of V. He never gives a comment. Even in a short interview behind the fashion stage, he just smiled and said, "I want to focus on the work and the things that make me feel alive." That simple sentence sounds like a metaphor, an affirmation that she is no longer just a pop figure governed by tour schedules and albums. She is now an artist who writes her own story, sometimes through lyrics, sometimes through the way she dresses, walks, and looks at the camera. Paris, to V, appears to be an inner reflection. The city teaches a balance between art and loneliness, luxury and emptiness, love and distance. Perhaps that is why every time he is there, the aura emanating from him feels different. Calmer, more elegant, more human. In previous interviews, he has said that he likes places that have a long history but are still alive. That sentence now feels like a picture of itself. After the military, after the silence, he returned as part of a new history, not just for BTS, but for himself. while armies around the world flooded social media with the phrase, "We waited, and it was worth it." Some fans who attended the fashion event live described an almost magical atmosphere. When he appeared, everyone stopped talking, wrote one fashion journalist of Italian origin on her Instagram. There's something about the way he stands, not because he's a superstar, but because he looks like someone who has come a long way and knows exactly who he is now. That is the essence of V, which is now starting to be talked about a lot in the fashion world. She does not force herself to be a model. She presents herself as herself, and the fashion world, which is usually cold and full of social constructions, welcomes her warmly. Celine's creative director, HYSTERICAL, even called V the charismatic personification of silence. In the fashion world, where noise is often perceived as a way to look relevant, V chose silence, and her silence speaks louder than anything else. But behind all that luxury, V keeps his distance from overexposure. It does not fill its days with parties or glamorous uploads. Instead, her Instagram account still contains calm, high-resolution photos, self-portraits in natural light, twilight skies over bridges, or the occasional simple photo from the recording studio. This is not just an aesthetic, but a way of telling stories. It was as if he wanted to say that his every step now had to be meaningful, that the calm he found in the military barracks was not something he wanted to let go of. The relationship between music and fashion in V's life now seems to merge. He not only appears as the face of the brand, but also becomes a visual inspiration that penetrates the boundaries of the industry. Many observers refer to V as a cross-medium artist, a person who is able to express emotions not only through sound, but also through the texture of fabrics, the color of clothing, and even the way he is silent in front of the camera. In a world where authenticity becomes a rare item, V be an example that sincerity can still be the most powerful attraction. The ARMY followed suit in a more mature manner. They're no longer just waiting for new songs or promotional photos. They follow the process, understanding that their idol is now a developed man. The reaction on social media was softer, more personal. "She looks peaceful," wrote a fan from Brazil. "I think he found his own version of happiness." On the other hand, speculation lives on about when he will return with music, about whether Paris is just the beginning of a longer journey of a fashion career, or about whether between the trips, there is someone who continues to be present in his heart. V seems to enjoy that ambiguity. He knows that the world is watching him, but he doesn't give all the answers at once. He walked the streets of Paris with light steps, looked at the windows of cafes, sipped coffee slowly, occasionally wrote in his notebook. Some fans were lucky to have time to photograph her without a plan. Just her silhouette in the afternoon, under a maple tree, dressed in a gray coat. The photo went viral in a matter of minutes, but what left people glued was not the clothes, but the atmosphere that emanated from them. Calm, melancholic, but full of life. Paris seemed to know that amidst the hustle and bustle of the fast-moving Korean entertainment world, V came with something rare, a beautiful silence. He is no longer a young man running after the light, but someone who is now part of the light itself. He is no longer looking for a place to shine, because now the whole world has become his stage. And among all the possibilities, from music to fashion, from stage to runway, from Seoul to Paris, there is one thing that never changes: the way V makes the world pause just to stare at him. When night falls on the banks of the Seine, the wind carries the scent of rain, and the light of city lights bounces in the water. In the distance, a person in a thick jacket and a black scarf stood looking at the sky. He is no longer a soldier, no longer just a pop star. He is V, the artist who has traveled 2 worlds and now walks between them. The camera may not always follow, but the world knows the story isn't over. And perhaps, under that Parisian sky, a new story is beginning, between music, fashion, and something that can only be called the mystery of Taehyung.